Hey y'all, happy early Mother's Day for any mothers that are watching my page. Please excuse my look, but yeah, something just happened and I was like, let me do a video because I feel like this is a pretty interesting topic to me. So what I wanted to talk about is how I no longer accept delayed gifts or delayed gifts. Let me turn the light on so it actually looks a little bit brighter in here, but throughout my life, I'm not really sure why, but I have noticed, and people have told me this, so this is not something that I was just observing and making up my own conclusions. Like, my own blood sister told me exactly what I was observing over the years, right? What I have observed and I have learned is that people, for some reason, not now, but people in my past that I was connected to, they would always use special days, whether it was a holiday or my birthday. They would always use those days to really show me how much they disliked me, right? They never wanted to acknowledge me. And when I was a teenager, this is after my grandma had passed away, like every year, like clockwork. My birthday is right before Christmas. It's like a week before Christmas, right? It'll always be something. Like, no matter how the whole year went, how the month went, it would always be something right before my birthday that I'd be like, oh, you know what? You said this, so you're not getting nothing for your birthday. Or you did this, you're not getting nothing for your birthday. Or I don't like, it was always something that I did right around that time that it would cancel my birthday and cancel Christmas. And I remember as I got older, like almost 18, I was like, no, this is like manipulation. Like, it's like you're planning this. Like, you're looking forward to this. You're looking for the smallest little thing that I do just to justify and be like, you know what, that's the reason why I'm not doing nothing for you, when truthfully you had no intentions on doing nothing for me anyway. And I did not understand that, when I was younger, but after a couple of years you start paying attention, right? So this continued on throughout my life. And I remember it was maybe 2020 or 2021, I can't remember. That's when things started looking good for me in terms of like me being connected to my dad. He just had another child. The time frame between, because I'm my dad's oldest child, and then he had a child around COVID time. So it was 33 years difference. Like, I'm 33 years older than my little sister. And, like I got a chance to meet her because I wasn't around like the first couple of months that she was born. So things started looking really good, right? And I mean, the whole year, things was looking good between me, between him, his side of the family, my one sibling, my sister, that I was talking about earlier in the video, that she told me what I was observing. Everything was looking good up until December. And I remember like things switched like the second week of December. So my birthday is December 17th. So like the second week of December, I remember vividly, like, communication just stopped. And it didn't just stop just with my sister. It kind of just like, to give you like context of this conversation, I was in daily or almost daily communication with my dad, my sister, and my dad's girlfriend, my little sister's mom, right? Every single day or every other day, we lived in the same town 5 minutes away. Like I said, the second week of December is when everything just stopped. Like, nobody wanted to reach out. Nobody, was responding. If they did, it would be like very delayed, right? And I remember on my birthday, crickets. Nobody said nothing to me. And it really hurt me. And out of everybody, the most it hurt me from my dad, because my dad would never tell me happy birthday because he was Muslim. And I respected his religion, just as, I thought he respected my religion, but because of his religion, he would never acknowledge my birthday. And my dad passed, and I never heard him tell me happy birthday. Not one time would he ever acknowledge my birthday. And I don't know why that was such a big thing for me, just for him to say happy birthday. But yeah, even down to, not to get off topic, but even down to like him passing. He passed away a week after my birthday. Like I said, my birthday is a week before Christmas. He died on Christmas. And I remember a day or two after my birthday, I broke down crying because I was like, why won't this man ever say happy birthday to me? And, you know, it just like really affected me that year. And then a week later, he died. So, yeah. But anyway, so back to, like I said, 2020 or 2021. My birthday comes, crickets, nobody say anything. So a couple days later, my sister had posted some like very indirect but direct, if you know who she's talking about, status on Facebook, right? So I remember like, you know, saying something to her about it, and it kind of just like started an argument because she was being like real shady, but I didn't know where the shade was coming from. But the thing is, when somebody's jealous of you and envious of you, nothing has to happen for them to get triggered. They're always triggered because they don't like you. You know what I mean? So you cannot expect somebody that does not like you to not show you that. You know what I mean? They can only be fake for so long. And that girl despised me. She hated me no matter how much I was there for her, no matter how much I tried to show her and love her and, you know, love her kids and allow them to come live with me when she was homeless. Like, none of that stuff mattered. That girl envied me, and there was nothing that I was going to be able to do about that. I didn't realize that at the time. And when I confronted her about her Facebook status, you know, like I said, I started an argument. And I remember me mentioning, like, you know, you didn't even tell me happy birthday. Like, what's your whole problem? Why you do that to me? And she told me, she was like, she intentionally did not reach out to me because she didn't want to acknowledge me. And I was like, dang, that's heavy. Like, you know, you really do hate me. You know what I mean? Like, that's wild. So that's kind of like why I just got to the point where I do not allow people to allow me to make me an afterthought, if that makes sense. Like, holidays and birthdays come the same time every year. And if you're anticipating on doing something for me, you know when that time is coming, if you really care. You get what I'm saying? But I don't allow people to make me an afterthought, because I feel like when people do that, people intentionally do not want to acknowledge you on that day. It's easy for somebody to say happy belated birthday or happy belated Mother's Day, because, you know, Mother's Day is tomorrow. And the person that kind of sparked this conversation this morning, they was offering me a gift. And at first I was like, yeah, you know, that's a real nice gift. And I'm like, wait a minute, Mother's Day is tomorrow. How would I get the gift that fast? And they're like, oh, you wouldn't? Then I'm not interested. You knew Mother's Day was coming up. You knew when Mother's Day was. If you're not planning something and you care enough to make sure that I'm able to get it on Mother's Day or before Mother's Day, then don't even bother. And if you are in a financial situation, maybe, you know, your pay schedule or something, you wasn't able to make the payment, so I was able to receive it beforehand, then say something to me beforehand. But like that last minute stuff, like the day before Mother's Day, like, oh, I'm going to send you a gift, but you won't get it until X, Y, and Z. It's something about that just feels like, I don't know, lack of effort, lack of energy. Like, you're just not interested. You're doing something just because, so you don't have to hear no one say nothing about it. I don't know. I just feel like, you know, it's an afterthought. I'm scraps, and I just don't tolerate that anymore. So if people, you know, do not want to acknowledge me on the day, that's cool. But I just don't want people to feel like, okay, well, I just go for anything. And that's just my personal experience from the things that I have went through. Like I said, you know what I mean, ever since I was a teenager. And I'm not going to say like all my life, but a teen. And people in my life would just intentionally and purposely like do things where they didn't want to acknowledge me. And it's just the craziest things I've ever experienced. But yeah. And it almost comes off like, oh, like maybe like you bougie, or you're being a B, or you're this or you're that. And I'm sure people have, you know, those opinions, if they do, but I'm also entitled to my own feelings and my own opinions. And I just feel like if you're not thinking of me beforehand and trying to, you know what I mean, acknowledge me appropriately, then let's just not even do it. Let's just leave it where it's at. Oh yeah, and I also remember a situation, this was back in like 2016, where I thought I had like two best friends at the time. And I remember I was you know, like my memory is so vivid. But anyway, I remember I was just like hanging out with someone at the time. And I remember I was like, it was like 6 o'clock in the evening, right? So just my birthday. And at the time I had like two best friends. And And these were friends, not even family, right? And I remember thinking throughout the whole day, like, dang, this person ain't reach out to me. Like, they ain't hit me up. Mind you, me and my two best friends, all of our birthdays are kind of like back to back. From starting from December 1st up until, like I said, mine was the 17th. Like, all of our birthdays were back to back. So we all, you know what I mean? We knew each other's birthdays, and yeah, so whatever case may be. Throughout that day on my birthday, I was thinking, like, dang, nobody reached out to me. Nobody's had a birthday to me. One of my friends had called like a little after 6 p.m. and was talking to me casual as if it wasn't my birthday. And I wasn't going to bring it up like, hey, are you going to say happy birthday to me? Because I felt like that was corny as hell. And that's when I should have realized, like, it was so many things that I would let slide, giving people the benefit of the doubt, that sometimes when I reflect on it makes me mad because I really was allowing people to play in my face. But more than anything, it was like, it obviously needed to happen because I was so naive in some areas and just, in a sense, desperate to be able to say I'm friends with somebody, or to say I have family members. Like, I would allow certain things to slide. And I say some things because I did have a mouthpiece on me, and I still do to some extent. But I'm not connected to anybody like that that's going to bring out that side of me. You get what I'm saying? But, you know, I had my ways. But even with that, I still was more so like real laid back, letting people just do shit. Even when I knew they didn't have my best intentions, even when I knew that they was on bullshit, I still was kind of like, I would get mad, but then allow that person back in my life. You know what I mean? Because I didn't want to let go. I didn't want to, you know, in a sense, be lonely and be isolated from everybody, because I started to see the same thing in every person that I had in my life, whether it was friends or family. They always kind of treated me the same. And now that I know, you know, what I was up against, I'm not dealing with people. These are spirits within people. And the same demonic spirit that was in one was in all. You know what I mean? And obviously the ultimate goal was, I was the target. I was the person that was supposed to be knocked down. And if I could be knocked down and get out of my position, then the devil won. That's what it boils down to. This is not a physical thing between us two. At the time, like I said, I didn't really understand that. But yeah, I remember this girl had called me, we talking, and I remember I had kind of just like shortened the conversation because I kind of seen after a couple of minutes that I wasn't going to get a happy birthday. And I remember hanging up, and I was like, damn, that's heavy that you actually called me on my birthday. Still didn't say happy birthday to me. And yeah, I did say something later on to both of the friends, and they both was like, oh, I forgot, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. If people do not care enough to acknowledge you, and people do not care enough to even give you what you need, to however that may be, you know, to make you feel special, maybe you should reevaluate these people in your life. Because I was never a person who was so hell-bent on gifts, you know what I mean? Like, just acknowledgement, just send me a text, you know, give me a phone call, just let me know you're thinking about me. That right there meant more to me than a gift. And to be honest with you, people didn't even want to do that. They didn't even want to do the bare minimum. Why? Because it really was not for me. So yeah, I know this video is kind of long, but I just wanted to make this video. And if you're ever in a situation where you feel like people are giving you scraps, just remove them out the equation. That way, so you don't have to look forward to it. That way, you don't even have to sit here and kind of play the guessing game like, oh, are they going to do better this year? Are they going to sit here and acknowledge me this year? No, just cut out the whole middleman, cut out the nonsense, and just remove that person, because people really show you how they feel about you every chance they get, whether you acknowledge it or not. I'll see y'all later.